Hello, I'm Dr. Sanjay Vaid, and today I'm presenting a case study on intercultural project management. This presentation explores how cultural differences shape the outcome of an international project. We'll examine what we can learn from these experiences. We'll focus on managing team across diverse cultures. This case study is grounded by my professional experience. It reflects academic rigors of executive PhD and DBA from IIM Sambalpur and I Bordeaux, France. We will delve into the complexities of the global collaboration in cross-culture working. This will provide insight for future projects. Let's begin by setting the stage for this case study. Now, let's set the context for this case study. I have been involved in a strategic project to implement a global ERP system. This system spanned through various regional offices. The project brought together teams from diverse cultural backgrounds. We had American project leaders and German technical experts. We had implementation teams which included people from US, Germany, India, and Japan. While everyone was highly skilled, and the project encountered unexceptional delays, although we saw communication breakdown during the initial phase. This is where the multinational cultural dimension becomes critical. It helped us understand what was happening. The project highlighted the hidden complexities of global collaboration. Now let's look at the specific types of culture which have interactions and that we have observed. Now, building on the project context, the complexities wasn't just about national culture. We had three layers of culture interaction happening simultaneously. First, we had the international interactions which were happening. People from different countries work together. These national cultures background shaped communication and decision making. Second, we had observed inter-organizational cultural interaction. The headquarter tries to impose standard on the regional office. These offices had developed their own ways of working and culture. This created tension, around a third, which is the intra-organizational culture, where interactions were present. Subcultures within the departments like IT, business units were clearly visible and had different expectations. Understanding these layers was crucial. It helped us diagnose the problems we face, and next we will map out the specific cultural landscape and their stakeholders. Now, following our identification of cultural interaction layers, let me map out the cultural landscape of the project. We had the American project leaders driving for quick results. They also emphasized on clear accountability, whereas the German technical lead brought a strong process orientation. They focus on attention to details. The Indian implementation team was relationship focused and hierarchical, and the Japanese regional management wanted harmony and consensus. These weren't just personality differences, they reflected cultural values. These values influenced how work should be organized. They also shaped how decisions should be made. These tensions created significant challenges. We'll explore these challenges in more detail next in our upcoming slides. Now, building on our cultural mapping of these four major multicultural challenge emerged as the project progressed. First, we had fundamentally different communication styles. The Americans' directness was interpreted as disrespect by the Indian team. The German desire for detailed specification clashed with the American preference for speed. Japanese use of indirect communication meant that American project manager missed important concerns. Second, we had conflicting ideas about who should make decisions. Third, we had different time orientations. Some people wanted quick results while others wanted careful planning. And fourth, we had very different expectations about hierarchy and authority. These weren't personality conflict, they were cultural conflicts. Next, we will see how theoretical framework to analyze these different cultural outlook help systematically measure and address these concerns. To analyze these culture differences systematically, I have applied the Hofstede six dimension of national culture. The framework helped me understand why the same situation was interpreted so differently by different teams members. The power distance dimension was particularly important for Indian colleagues expected clear hierarchy and direction, while our American leaders wanted everyone to contribute ideas. The individualistic dimension explained why the American team focused on individual accountability, while the Indian and Japanese team wanted collective responsibility. The uncertainty avoidant dimension showed why Germans and Japan wanted detailed planning while America wanted to move fast. And the long term oriented dimension were revealed why the teams were thinking about quick wins while some or the other ones thinking about a sustainable long term implementation. These weren't personality quicks. They were cultural values deeply embedded in how people from different countries approach work. Now let us see how these cultures or these cultural differences impact the projects. These cultural differences had very concrete impact on project execution. In the requirement gathering phase, we lost 3 months because we couldn't agree on how detailed the requirement should be and who should approve them. In team communication, the American PM directed feedback style was misrepresented as harsh criticism by the Indian team. The Japanese regional manager's indirect communication meant the American project manager missed important concerns. Decision making became nightmare because different people's expectations, different decision makers were causing a lot of chaos. And change management was incredibly slow because we couldn't agree on how to approach it. These weren't just communication problem, they were fundamental difference in how people from different culture approach work. But we did learn from these challenges, and that brings us to our next slide. The turning point came when we recognized that the delays weren't due to incompetence or lack of commitment, they were due to cultural differences in how we approached work. Once we acknowledged this, we had made specific adaptations. We created hybrid communication protocol that respected different communication styles. We clarified decision making authority so people knew what to expect. We adjusted the project's rhythm to balance the need for speed with the need of careful planning. And we invested in cultural competence training. The adoption weren't perfect, they were made as huge difference. After months, the project managed strategy moving forward and yielded outputs. We were still delivering 2 months late, but that was much better than the 6 months delay we saw we were heading towards. More importantly, the team developed a genuine respect for each other approach and learned how to work together effectively despite the cultural differences. This experience taught us several key lessons. The case study taught me several important lessons about intercultural project management. First, cultural differences aren't just problems to eliminate, they are realities to manage. Different cultures have different strengths, and effective project management leverages these differences. Second, Explicit conversation about culture is essential. Most culture misunderstand happening what happens silently. Third, successful intercultural project management requires adaptation process and systems to accomplish cultural differences. Fourth, investing in relationships builds across culture boundaries is crucial. And fifth, theoretical framework like Hofstede helps make sense of cultural difference and reduces defensiveness. This lesson have shaped how I approach multicultural projects. And I'll share some recommendation next. Building on the lesson learned, I've developed a six key recommendations for managing multicultural project teams efficiently. These aren't just theoretical, they are actionable steps derived directly from the case study. First, always conduct cultural assessment upfront to identify potential tensions. Second, establish explicitly work agreement about communication and decision making. Third, build cultural competence into team development through training and learning opportunity. Fourth, create a flexible project management process that accommodates diverse cultural expectation. And fifth, invest in relationship. Build building recognizing uh, the cultural foundation of trust is important. And the sixth, continuously monitor and manage cultural dynamics through the project lifecycle. These practices move us from simply reacting to proactively leveraging cultural diversity. These are essential for navigating the complexities of the global projects. This bridges the conclusion. Culture intelligence is no longer just about desirable traits. It's a core competency for project managers. We have seen that multicultural challenges are manageable through explicit conversation and flexible processes. Theoretical framework like Hofstede helps us understand different objectives, reducing defensiveness. The project taught me the cultural differences are not obstacles, they are opportunity for growth and innovation. Effective leadership in this context demands respect, curiosity, and adaptability. Unlike or ultimately, in an interconnected world, the ability to lead multicultural team is necessity, transforming potential conflict into source of strength and innovation. My analysis is grounded in established theoretical framework, extensive research, and great Hofstede work on cultural dimensions. Provides the primarily lens for undertaking the project challenges. Edward Hall's insight into high context and low context communication is also crucial. Fans Trompena's work offered additional perspective on the cultural dynamics. I have also drawn from the standard project management literature and the international business studies. These resources provided the academic rigor and practical guidance necessary for effective intercultural project management. Thank you very much for your time.